All right, let's just jump right in. Today, we are tackling one of the most provocative and honestly kind of dangerous ideas from the playbook of power. Law 6, court attention at all cost. And yeah, it is exactly what it sounds like. This one is all about making sure people see you, no matter what it takes. And this quote, this is really the whole thing in a nutshell. Better to be slandered and attacked than ignored. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It basically turns our normal way of thinking completely upside down. The argument here, any attention, even the really bad kind, is better than being invisible. Because, being ignored, well, that's a kind of death. It's powerlessness. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that appearance is reality, at least in the game of power. If you're not seen, you might as well not exist. Seriously, you could be the most talented person on the planet, but if nobody knows who you are, if you're just another face in the crowd, it all counts for nothing. Absolutely zero.
Okay, let's talk about this idea of notoriety. This is where things get really interesting. The law makes this pretty shocking claim. It doesn't really care if the attention you get is good or bad. Think about that. Being famous for something scandalous is just as powerful and sometimes, get this, more powerful than being famous for being a good person. The only thing that matters is that people know your name.
So, that's the big question, right? If being seen is the whole game, how do you actually do it? How do you become this magnet for attention? Well, there are a couple of very different ways to go about it. We're going to start with the loudest, most in-your-face method, creating a scandal. And when you talk about creating a scandal, there's really only one name you need to know, the legendary 19th century showman, P.T. Barnum. This guy was an absolute genius at creating a spectacle. I mean, he'd pull these bizarre, outrageous stunts that had one single purpose, to get people talking. Okay, check this out. One of his most famous stunts was the Brick Man. Barnum literally just hired a guy to walk back and forth on a path, laying down a brick, then picking up another one, over and over and over, all with this dead serious look on his face. It was completely absurd. It made zero sense. And that was the genius of it. People couldn't look away. They just had to know what was going on, and they followed him right inside Barnum's museum, willing to pay just for an answer. And the results? I mean, they were staggering. This just shows you the power of something that makes no sense. More than 1,000 people bought tickets in a single day just to see what this brick guy was all about. The stunt was actually too successful. It created such a huge crowd that the police had to step in and shut it down because it was blocking traffic. Incredible.
And the guy just never quit. He had so many tricks up his sleeve. He'd advertise free music outside, but then hire the absolute worst band you've ever heard. People would literally pay to go inside the museum just to get away from the terrible noise. And this is my favorite. He would send anonymous letters to the newspapers claiming his own exhibits were fakes. That controversy just made even more people want to come see what all the fuss was about.
And this quote from him really says it all. Every crowd has a silver lining. He didn't care why people showed up. Were they curious? Annoyed? Did they think he was a total fraud? It didn't matter. Once he had their attention, he had their money. For Barnum, any crowd, for any reason, was a golden opportunity.
But Barnum's loud, in-your-face style isn't the only way to play this game. There's another path to getting attention, a totally different one. It's not about being a showman, it's about being an enigma. It's less about spectacle and more about seduction and mystery. And for that, we need to talk about Mata Hari.
So you can really see the two different playbooks right here. You've got the showman, loud, obvious, making a huge scene, and then you have the enigma, quiet, mysterious, a little ambiguous. The showman puts on a big show. The enigma, they don't give you everything at once. They make you lean in, desperate to know more. They build anticipation. So Mata Hari shows up in Paris, and she basically invents a whole new person for herself. She didn't just say she was a dancer, no. She was a mysterious oriental priestess performing these sacred exotic dances from faraway lands. She wrapped herself up in veils and these wild, fantastical stories about her past. And Parisian society just ate it up. They were completely captivated by her. I mean, her strategy was just pure theater. First, she creates this incredible persona. But then, and this is the clever part, she keeps all the details fuzzy and even contradictory. One day she's from Java, the next she's from India. She reveals just a little bit, but conceals so much more.
And by doing that, she basically forces everyone to fill in the blanks themselves. She let their imaginations run wild, and that's always way more powerful than the plain old truth.
Because the truth was, well, it was kind of boring, actually. She wasn't some exotic princess. Her real name was Margarita Zell, and she was from Holland. She had zero formal dance training. Her entire career, all that fame and power, was built on an aura of mystery that she literally just made up out of thin air. Okay, so it's really easy to get swept up in all this, right? To think this is the key. But we've got to be careful. Courting attention is a really high-stakes game. It's like playing with fire. And if you don't know the rules, that same spotlight that makes you famous can also burn you right down to the ground.
So, what are the big risks? Well, for one, the character you're playing can start to take over your real life. That fun mystery you created, it can sour into a reputation for being a liar, and you get trapped in your own story. But there's an even bigger danger. A constant, desperate need for the spotlight, it just screams insecurity. And that insecurity can make you reckless. It can lead you to make the one mistake you can never, ever make, trying to outshine the people above you.
And that brings us to our cautionary tale. Let's talk about a performer named Lola Montez. She was a master at getting attention, she really was. But she got carried away. She lost her sense of judgment and made that one fatal error we just talked about. She decided to challenge the queen for the spotlight. Okay, just picture this scene. The theater is packed. Everyone is buzzing, waiting for the queen. Queen Victoria arrives, the whole audience stands and applauds. Then they sit down. The show is about to start, but then, just as things quiet down, Lola Montez makes her entrance. Deliberately late, incredibly glamorous, and she sweeps into the box directly across from the queen. It's a bold move, a silent challenge for everyone's attention. So what does the queen do? Nothing. She doesn't even look over. She just calmly turns her focus to the stage. And in that instant, the entire audience does the exact same thing. Like a switch was flipped. They all turn away from Lola, leaving her totally and completely ignored. It was devastating. Her career wasn't just damaged, it was executed, right there on the spot by the power of silence.
And that really brings us to today, doesn't it? And our world of social media, personal brands, and just constant noise. This law feels more real than ever before.
Barnum and Mata Hari understood, deep down, that being ignored was a kind of death.
So it leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. In a culture that's so desperate for likes, clicks, and views, what is the real cost of being ignored?